Hi, everyone, and welcome to the sixth episode of Across STEM with YSI, a podcast where we explore how STEM unfolds across countries, cultures, and time. I'm Amir Ali Banani, your host for today's episode, and I'm so excited to have you join us. Each conversation here is about more than just STEM, it's about stories, ideas, and the people behind them. Today, I'm speaking with Souad Menif, a dental student and rising healthcare communicator who has uniquely merged her path in dentistry with storytelling, ghostwriting, and LinkedIn strategy. Souad has built her reputation as someone who helps healthcare professionals, from doctor founders to medical leaders, share their voices authentically on LinkedIn. And at the same time, she's also immersed in her own journey as a dental student, balancing academic challenges, personal health victories, and creative pursuits in writing. What makes her story even more inspiring is how open she is about her journey, from celebrating overcoming challenges with PCOS and making it to her fourth year of dental school, to candidly sharing how she grew her ghostwriting business. She embodies authenticity and resilience in a way that truly resonates with thousands of people. And she's not only doing that through personal storytelling, Swat is also exploring how medical and health communication can bridge gaps, empower professionals, and ultimately shape the way we think about healthcare in the digital age. So today we'll be diving into Swat's journey growing up in Tunisia, her path into dentistry, how she balances both being a student and a ghostwriter, her insights on LinkedIn and healthcare communication, and what she envisions for the future of STEM and storytelling. So, without further ado, let's begin. Swad, welcome to Across STEM with YSI. It's a great pleasure to have you here. First of all, how are you doing today? Where are you at right now? And what have you been up to lately?
Well, thank you for having me, Amirali, and I'm super stoked to be here. I'm super excited and doing great actually. How are you?
I'm doing well too, thank you. Just had lunch, and I'm feeling pumped for this sixth episode of Across STEM with YSI now. And I'm very glad to be speaking to such an inspiring guest as you. Now, I
Thank you.
want to ask, let's start with the basics. As a child or even in high school, did you always see yourself going into dentistry, or was there a turning point?
Okay, such a good question. I grew up in a family of doctors. So all my father's side are like doctor specialists. So you'd find like ophthalmologists, gynecologists, all the kind of specialties you think of. We have that in my dad's side of the family. And so I'd say my family heavily influenced the career path that I chose. Not only that, I grew up like watching those TV shows like Doctor House and Grey's Anatomy. I'd be sneaking in on my parents watching it, and and I'd like a lot of times I'd sleep on the couch, just like wanting to finish the episode, but sleep would just get the better of me, and I would
Wow.
sleep in front of the TV. And so all those factors led me to just like fall in love with medicine, with science. And yeah, I've always loved science, and I've always loved to learn more about the human physiology and biology. And that's what led me here eventually. Yeah.
Amazing. So TV shows played a big part. Um, I hope you finish watching them though, despite falling asleep on the couch.
No.
Yeah, all right. That's very interesting. So you have that background, that family background too. I can relate a lot to that as well on my dad's side of the family, and it really does play a big role, to be honest. So my next question is about Tunisia. Now, it's such a fascinating country. I haven't been yet, but I know that it's so rich in culture, history, and innovation. What was it like growing up there? First of all, did you always grow up there? And I know you live there now, but how has it shaped your perspective as both a dental student and a healthcare communicator?
Yeah, I've been born here, raised here, all my life here. And I'd say I haven't had the chance to visit other places of the world yet, and I'm really looking forward to that. So I'd say the upbringing here in Tunisia is like a mix of Muslim, Arabic, let's say, rules with the North African rules also. So we have those two backgrounds merged into one, and that makes you like really value family, really value like those prestigious career choices, and like so being a doctor in here is like regarded like one of the utmost like that's the best career you'd take in here basically, and after that maybe that would be engineering and being a lawyer maybe, so basically like Asian parents but
Yes.
in North Africa. Yeah,
Middle
so I'd
Eastern
say
parents, general,
exactly,
and
yeah.
Asian parents.
So
Yeah.
so being brought up in that environment just makes you think like, okay, so I got a good score. So I know that you guys have like GPA, and
Yes.
I'm not really familiar with the system, so pre-med and med. So, but what we have here is called a baccalaureate, and
Hmm.
like it's heavily influenced by the French Revolution, and
Right.
because like we were colonized by France, and yeah. So
Yeah.
we have the baccalaureate, and based on that it's like everyone does that exam, and everyone is scored based on those examinations, and like so the top scorings typically would go to, so those who get the best scorings are allowed to pick whichever university they'd like in the country, and
Hmm.
like the education is free, by the way. So it's really competitive in here. And so typically what happens is, since our parents do influence our choices, unfortunately, and also like the environment and culture does influence that too. So people are like, students are, part of it are pressured, but also maybe they want that prestige and like that status. So when they do have those high scores, they'd go to medical school, then to dental school, which is like second to medicine.
Right.
Then yeah, then pharmacy, then like engineering, and so on and so forth. So
Hmm.
basically, that's how it goes here. Yeah.
Interesting. So it's very, very competitive.
It is competitive, and it's very easy to predict the choices of students based on their scores. So high score, probably medicine; low score, like whatever leftover universities. And Tunisia is so small, like
Uh,
like in the whole country, there's only four medical universities,
oh,
only one
really?
dental school, yeah, one dental school and one pharmacy school. So the competitiveness is through the roof,
Only
literally.
one dental school, and you go there.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's incredible. In the whole country. Wow. Kudos to you.
Thank you. I mean, those who are in medicine would look down on me and say, "Oh, you're in dental school." And so
No, I
that's
mean,
just
maybe it's more impressive even because medical schools, there's four of them, but dental school, there's only one, and you're in that. So it's very impressive, honestly.
I mean, for us it's not, because we know, like I'm pretty sure that 80% of those in dental school did put medicine as their first choice, and they didn't
Right.
get into med school, so they just went to dentistry. And then we end up liking it even more than med school. So that's the
Hmm.
surprising part, because we don't know. Typically, we're not really educated on what's like to be in dental school, but we hear a lot about med school. And so
Uh-huh.
what happens is, those that are like disappointed that we're in dental school and like even thinking of redoing those examinations, because you have like this option that you can redo. It's not like the full exam, not the full baccalaureate, but there's something called like reorientation. And it's also very, very competitive. And they even also like have even more limited places for dental school and medicine. And so
Wow.
those who go to dental school and they aren't really convinced they can redo that, and then maybe they get into med school again.
Mhm.
But that's basically how it works here.
It's very, very different from how it's like here, or I can imagine a lot of other places in the world. I mean, comparing it to, let's say, Canada or the US, like it's not based on score. Well, partially it could be. I mean, there are some majors that are harder to get into than others, and you need a higher score to get into, but there's so many factors, and there's also a ton of universities. So, I mean, yeah, and it's not just grades too. It's extracurriculars. It plays a big role. Like you can have very average grades too, but if you've done a lot of other things along with it, sports, music, arts in general, debates, whatnot, Model UN, like you will have a very good chance of even getting a scholarship to a very good university.
Yeah,
Very
and I
different
wish we
system.
had that. I really
Mm,
wish we had that part. So curriculums in here are viewed as a waste of time by parents. So so because baccalaureate is only based about like there is sports technically and there's like so sorry if like I'm jumping from point to point, but I just wanted to
fun.
mention this. So in Tunisia, almost all of us are either bilingual, trilingual, or even like we speak four languages.
Wow.
And so, yeah, so we're in our education system. Everyone goes through those three languages, which is Arabic, French, and English. And then,
Hmm.
like in the baccalaureate, you can choose to do a language or arts, and the grade is part of the baccalaureate. And also, you have to do sports technically, but like we don't have like those extra curriculums like debate or like maybe instruments or like I really don't know how it goes in your side, and I wish it like even entrepreneurship and that stuff, especially when you go and talk to my parents or like any parent in the streets and just ask them like they say like I want my son or daughter to focus on their baccalaureate in like it's a critical year. I don't want them to do anything besides studying. It's like yeah, it's very different.
Well, yeah, it's also a cultural difference in that regard.
Yeah.
Yeah, because here, it's not all studying and stuff. It's like very multifaceted, and they value more when you do, a bunch of things, but have, like I said, like maybe more average grades rather than having super high grades, but then having done maybe nothing or like a couple of things at most, as extracurriculars. Yeah, it's a huge cultural difference, and
Yeah.
I'm from the Middle East, and I know that it's like that throughout pretty much. Um, my parents had that same situation, growing up. They they were just forced to focus on studying, nothing else. They try to fit in sports, playing in instruments here and there, but it was just so focused on academics that like other things were neglected in a lot of ways. I'm not a fan of that at all, to be honest. But I mean, it is like that in a lot of places in the world.
Yeah, totally. And like I might be a prime example of that. So I used to be a volleyball player, and
Hmm.
I've played competitively for like 6 years, I think, 6, 7
Oh,
years.
nice.
And yeah, when it came to the baccalaureate, they were like, okay, Souad, like they started pressing and starting nagging and started like, hey, it's an important year. You should focus on studying. You should stop playing those
Oh,
games and
yeah.
like the
It
training.
drives us
Like,
crazy.
yeah, so I know it's like 4 times, 5 times of training per week. I know it can be a lot, but for me, it was like an outlet. And so at one point, I caved in and I was like, okay, I'm not dealing with this shit anymore. Sorry.
Yeah.
And and so like yeah, I replaced that with basically running. So because it was part of the baccalaureate, we had a test about regarding like So basically, they time us, and based on those timings, you get grades and also gymnastics. So I was like,
Mm.
okay, parents, I'm running now. And it's good for
Cool.
the baccalaureate. So, like, they were cool with it.
Okay, I mean, at least they do make you, you know, do some sports, so that's a
No,
good
no, no,
part.
no. So I made myself do some sports and I told them, like, this is why it's for baccalaureate. It's also for me because I enjoy it. And so like, they
Mm.
were okay. Volleyball takes too much time. And so
Yeah,
that's why they were like, just focus on this critical year and then maybe you can go back to it. And also, even in dentistry, so I played for 2 years and then, like, in my third year, which was the hardest, it's not technically the hardest, but like they were like, this is a crucial year, and also the fourth year you should stop playing altogether. And I also gave in into that pressure. And I don't know if I hadn't, maybe things would have turned out differently. Maybe I
mm,
wouldn't have burnt out. Maybe like we never know what would have happened. But it
yeah,
is what it is. I'm really thankful for my parents. They are amazing. I know, like, in Middle Eastern and African countries, we know the impact of families. We know that the financial situations typically aren't the best, and so they pour in energy, they pour in money into us, and we're kind of their legacy. And I know you can relate to this.
yeah.
And so
It's an
we have,
investment.
yes, an investment, that's the word. And
Yeah,
we have, like, some expectations to fulfill, and it becomes like a duty to fulfill, like, so kind of repaying the debt in a way. And so it's kind of a pressure
yeah.
to keep up and do things and make them proud.
True. Sometimes too much pressure, but
Sometimes too much pressure.
it's the way it is.
Yeah.
Well, I'm curious now because you've shared openly about your personal milestones, including making it to your fourth year of dental school after overcoming PCOS, and that must have been such a meaningful moment for you. Can you share more about that journey and how it shaped who you are and your resilience?
Yeah, I mean, so basically, I would say I always have been resilient, but in a different way.
Hmm.
So when you're an athlete, you go through a lot of physical strain, and you
Yes.
have to be mentally strong. And I enjoyed that. I really enjoyed that. But when it comes to PCOS, and especially when you don't have answers, because at first I didn't know I had it. It becomes really strenuous, and so you don't know what's going on with your body. You don't know why you're not able to perform in the ways that you used to. And so in my third year, before repeating it, I used to do the very same things I've done the previous years, which have led me to where I was. So basically, I changed nothing. My routines were the same. I trained the same. Well, not in a professional manner, but I still organized some games at our university. And
Hmm.
so everything was the same. I went to library, I studied, I socialized. Everything was the same. But still, there was something different in the side, and I didn't know what, and I didn't know how to pinpoint it exactly. So basically, I had fluctuations throughout the month, and the first period of the first 2 weeks, typically, I was awesome. I felt on top of the world, and then, like, the second half of the month, I felt really terrible. And of course, I'm pretty sure you know the science behind it. That, like,
Hmm.
you
Yes.
you, you shouldn't you shouldn't feel bad for over 10 days in a row. It shouldn't be that way. I mean, 2 days, yeah, sure, periods, cramps, etc. But, like, this was full on 10 to sometimes more days where I felt really terribly, and I felt my concentration wasn't at its best, and even physically I was super exhausted, and, like, a lot of symptoms that went behind PCOS, and I didn't know at the time, of course, but also I knew I had some history when it comes to problems with my period and everything. And I visited the OBGYN before, and her words weren't conclusive, to be honest. And that's also one part of living in a third world country, which is sometimes, if not most of the times, medicine isn't as developed as the other parts of the world, especially women's. And so I was given the very same treatment over and over and over again. And so it was like on and off. And each time I visited, she would tell me, "You're fine." So I remember I started visiting her either like I was 18 until I was 22, I think. So it's quite a long time, you know. And each time she was like, "Hey, wait until you're 20, 21. It will get better. It gets better with time." And I don't think that's a medical answer you should give, right?
Yeah.
It gets better with time. I don't, that's not what I want to hear. And so every time it was like that. And I didn't like it, of course. And I felt my worst in my third year of dental school. And so I had to go through that year without knowing what I was going through until I failed. And it was horrible. And well, even like that summer, so I was resting. I was rested for the full 2 months, and I wasn't feeling any better. And like my mom did notice that. So my parents were like, "Okay, maybe you're stressed, maybe you're physically exhausted. Rest well this summer, and maybe it will get better the next year." And it didn't. So I spent my summer rested, and nothing changed. And so mom was like, "You need to go to the doctor again." And so I did. And I remember visiting and not wanting to, but having to, because my mom was like, "Hey, I'm not accepting this. You need to go." And so it was the same doctor that I always went to. And she was like, maybe she looked at my mom and she told her, "I think that your daughter is depressed."
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I remember that sentence. You can't unremember it. It will stay with you. And just 5 minutes later, she did the scan and she found out I had PCOS. And before saying it, I could see her face switching. I could see her expression darken. And I could tell something was wrong. And I haven't never seen her that way before. And basically, she looked at me and she told me, "Hey, you do have this condition, and it's kind of serious now. We need to give you some blood tests to do, and like we need to give you treatment." And she told my mom, and until now, I wish she apologized for her sentence. Because like just 5 minutes prior to her checking on me and saying I had PCOS, she just told me like I'm depressed, which
Yeah.
I wasn't. Yeah. And so, yeah, so that's basically my story. And so based on that, I had to go through, I had to take the treatment, I had to rest, I had to see my classmates do their fourth year when I was redoing my third, and it was really painful. And that was probably the hardest thing in my life. And I know like it's 23 years old is really short. So I'm sure there will be harder times ahead. But for me, until now, that was the hardest moment for me. And that's what taught me to be resilient, you know.
Wow, that is very, very difficult to just go through, and it shows how truly resilient you are. And I mean, you know, despite resting throughout the summer, despite getting the same treatment over and over, and I wasn't working. And, even the doctors saying that you were depressed and that after only she found out that you had PCOS, you went through a lot, truly. I hope nothing like that happens again. I mean, we all have, difficult moments in life. We will have more difficult moments, but I mean, yeah, it did make you more resilient, which I think is the positive side. You're stronger now. If something like that happens again, you're able to pull through better because you've gone through it before. But yeah, I really commend you. I mean, I can't imagine how difficult it must have been for you, but that you managed to pull through. Now you're in your fourth, fifth year, that you're still going. It's really inspiring. So yeah, kudos to you, honestly.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, and so the problem isn't really like I had PCOS and it's fine, right? I'm just one person in the system. That's what's bothering me. So I'm a dental student and like I'm aware and like I can read and stuff. And so when she tells me like you're depressed, I know it's not true. But I'm pretty sure that another lady who didn't have the blessings that I had and or the education that I did, when the doctor tells her like you are depressed and you have nothing, she will believe her, and her husband or brother or father would believe her too, and people will make it seem like it's all in her head, and that's the bigger problem here. It's
Right.
not about me. It's like the system needs to change somehow, and that's why I made it my mission to share those moments here and there on LinkedIn, to share about my story openly with PCOS and to advocate for other women in my situation. And and I was able to discuss this topic with other women, other doctors in the UK, US, and I've heard the same thing. So which kind of made me feel a bit better is that PCOS is underdiagnosed overall, and it takes, and endometriosis as well. And for endometriosis, it takes around 10 years to get diagnosed, which is really a really big time.
Yeah.
So yeah, so all those things to say is there is there's work to be done. There are things that need to be changed in order for women's health to get better and to not make young girls and teenagers feel shamed when they come up to a doctor and they trust them and they tell them. So I was 19 at my first visit, and like the effort that I took to go to a doctor, especially when it comes to an OBGYN in our culture, it's not the easiest thing to do. And I came up to you and I trusted you with my health, and you tell me everything's fine, and you tell me I'm depressed. It's not a nice feeling at all, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Needs to change.
definitely. A lot needs to change, a ton, and not just in third world countries, in US, UK, wherever, Canada, like a lot of European countries. So much has to change still, and a lot of it starts with making especially young girls feel comfortable with being themselves, not feeling ashamed. So there's, yeah, even now, it's 2025, but there's so much that needs to change, which is concerning, considering that there's so much in other areas that we've advanced and progressed, but in this
Yeah.
area, I mean, there's a
I mean,
long way
look at
to
the AI. Look
exactly
at
right. I mean,
AI.
when AI has progressed so much, women's health, that should be a simpler topic. So why is
Yeah.
it that we still have so many problems? I don't understand. And there has to be I mean, cultural shifts, everything, even, I don't know, from infrastructure, whatever. I think in some areas, there's not enough focus, and this is one of them, unfortunately. So there really has to be more advocacy, more focus, more investments that goes into it, more talks, you know, all around the world. Doesn't
Yeah,
matter if it's Tunisia, I don't know, France, Canada, it doesn't matter where it is. There has to be a lot more awareness.
exactly. I do agree.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you're helping with that. Um, you know, through being by being so open with your story and all that you've gone through. So I really commend you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And PCOS is a work in progress. Even for myself, I haven't fully found the treatment that works yet. And I know it's gonna be trial and error.
Mhm.
But I'd say one thing I'd say to other ladies out there, just trust your intuition. If you feel you're not okay, you probably aren't. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. There just has to be so much more education on it, on the
Yeah.
topic. So hopefully a lot will change in the near future. And I wish a lot more would have changed by 2025. Um, but yeah, we need more people, more advocates like you to raise awareness on the issue. So continue what you're doing and keep being open about it. And yeah, it truly makes a difference.
Thank you.
Now, my next question is more about you, you know, outside of your studies and work. I always like to get to know people outside of, you know, the things they do or their job, academics, whatever. I want to know, what do you enjoy doing in your spare time? What are some of your hobbies or passions? You said, you know, you've done volleyball before, running. What else do you like?
I used to be into anime a lot. I had a phase where I'd binge watch and read manga. I feel like every teenager had that phase. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so I used to be, so I had like kind of phases, a phase where I was into playing the guitar, then a phase I was into drawing and like manga, volleyball. But mostly it was volleyball. That's what won my heart over. I also used to go to the gym as well. So I'd say summer for me is typically like dedicated to volleyball and to training, whether it's gonna be like beach volleyball or like playing with the team. So
Mhm.
yeah, and recently, so this year I've had a lot of free time, which led me to read some business books, which were
Nice.
recommended to me by a very special person. And I was also able to dive deeper into marketing and like how to build a digital business and all that stuff. So yeah, this year it was mainly dedicated towards learning about business and marketing.
Cool. That's amazing. I mean, it's so useful to read these things, and especially with the work that you're doing, you know, through LinkedIn, um, it can really help. It can really help you be uh, more aware of, you know, the strategies to use, and you know, come up with your own strategies. It really goes a long way. And you know, there are a lot of people who say like business books are not helpful or whatever. I don't believe that. I think they can truly make a difference. Um, you know, whether you're starting a business or you're doing marketing of any sorts, it's really content that you need to know, because I mean, business, it's easy to fail, it's easy to mess up, and with the education, you would be ahead of others by so much. So
Yeah,
it's so that, I mean, you can recommend these books maybe. We can share it with everyone through STEM Initiative as well, whoever's interested
yeah.
in reading them.
Yeah, I
You
mean
can, yeah.
the Alex Hormozy books are amazing.
Oh, absolutely.
One,
Yes.
yeah, 1 million offers, 1 million leads, and today actually
Huge.
is the launch of his third book, which is named
Today.
1 million money models. His third book,
Wow. Wow.
yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, so I mean, Alex Hormozy basically was the one like I learned how to build an offer. I learned how to sell my services based on his teachings. And also like YouTube is a huge help when it comes to learning those skills. So like if anyone I mean from the audience is interested in trying to build their own digital product, maybe a Notion, a template to sell, well, like YouTube is just a huge well of knowledge and it's free. So yeah,
Yes.
go
Yes,
watch
definitely.
YouTube, I guess.
Watch more YouTube. I already do that a lot, but I don't think I watch enough about business, so maybe I should shift that a bit. Well, it's really cool. Very interesting hobbies. Um, so it's nice that, you get to read about this and play volleyball, exercise whenever you're not studying for dentistry. It's a really good break to take from that.
Yeah.
So let's move on to our first segment. It's a STEM myth buster. So I'm gonna tell you like a couple myths in dentistry, and then you give your thoughts on it. All right. So the first one is whitening toothpaste can actually whiten your teeth. From a perspective of a dental student like you, what are your thoughts about this?
Can actually whiten. Did I hear
Yeah.
that right? Well, the thing is, it can. I wouldn't say it's the healthiest, but it
Hmm.
definitely can. And we do not sell, but there are like there are kits that can be done at home, which I don't really recommend. But there are also kits that can be done by your dentist,
Hmm.
which I also don't recommend, by the way. But like, if you want that whitening effect, at least go and do it at your dentist and don't do it at home
Hmm.
because like it's abrasive material and we're basically peeling the enamel of the tooth and that fragilizes your tooth and that's not really good for your oral health basically.
Yeah. Enamel's the hardest material, so if you lose that, it's a huge problem.
Yeah, definitely. It will increase the risk of dental caries, by the way. So
Hmm.
if your enamel is weaker, the risk of
Cavities.
basically, yes, a cavity is basically dental tissue destruction. And if you're just helping the destruction of the tooth with those abrasive materials, it's not good. It's really not good.
Yeah.
I know like the white effect that is sold by influencers, Instagram models, etc. It's like we want to have white teeth, but like it's not really the healthiest. And by the way, my mythbuster is around that, so I will leave it for later.
Okay. Okay, cool. Sounds great. Now the other one I want to say is wisdom teeth always need to be removed. I mean, of course, we see a lot of people have their wisdom teeth removed, but is it always the case that it has to be removed, or does it not have to be removed all the time? Can it just
No,
be there?
no, not at all. So, um, the good thing is we are moving towards more like economic dentistry. Basically, we're trying not to minimalistic dentistry, and we're trying not to even in caries, when we deal with caries, we try to leave as much as possible from the dental tissue. And so when it comes to the wisdom teeth, If it's fine, if it's like, so it's totally normal that you feel a bit of like pain when it's starting to grow, or like a bit of discomfort. So that's totally fine. But like the cases where it needs to be pulled, basically, if you have a cyst, or if uh, so basically we only remove it once we do the radiography, and we check like your in the radio. So sorry, so I'm learning. Sorry, can we cut this segment?
No worries, no worries.
So we study dentistry in French. So basically, all the terms are in my head in French, and I'm kind of struggling to.
That's
Yeah.
okay.
Okay, so I was basically searching for racine, root. Um, so
Right.
basically, if, for example, if we see in the radiography that the root is very near to the second molar, dangerously near, and is basically hitting on the other root, in that case, for example, it needs to be pulled. So, and in that case, it's also, it can be not painful at all, but we still need to remove it just to preserve your second molar. Like, and those things can only be seen using the radiography. So for the wisdom teeth, we don't always pull it. There are cases where we do and cases where we don't. And the third wisdom tooth it's very useful when it comes to old people. And if they lose, for example, their first molar or second molar, but they do have the third, so like it helps a lot when it comes to restoring the mouth structure with like prosthetics. The third molar can be very useful in those cases, and like it's very good when it's kept intact.
Interesting. Okay. I need to do some studying on that to learn more about molar and wisdom teeth in general, and when you pull it, when you don't, when you leave it. That's very interesting. So, okay, so it doesn't always, have to be removed then.
Yes.
Right. Interesting. All right. So thank you for busting that myth. Now let's shift gears. You're not just a dental student, of course, but you're also a ghostwriter and LinkedIn strategist for healthcare professionals. Tell us how you got started in this space in the first place.
Yes. So, as I told you before, I had a lot of free time, more than I can deal with. Because when I failed my third year, it was by a very few margin, and I didn't have to repeat a lot of subjects, which it was kind of a gap year, but not really.
Right.
It was awesome in a way, to be honest. I kind of needed to rest. Looking back, I kind of needed to
Yeah.
rest that
Yeah.
full
So it
year.
wasn't
So
totally a bad thing.
yeah, it wasn't all bad.
Yeah.
And also I was able to make this business happen, this ghostwriting business happen, which I'm super grateful about. And so I had a lot of time in my hands. And I knew I loved writing. Yeah, so writing is one of my favorite things to do. That's one thing I'd say. One of my pastimes is writing. I forgot to mention that. I used to own a Wattpad account, and I
Oh,
used to
no.
write stories.
And you
When I
have a
was,
blog on WhatsApp? Oh, no, sorry, on Substack.
I do, yeah.
Yeah.
But when Wattpad was very popular, I had one, and I used to write there. Yeah.
Cool. Well, if you
So
still
yeah,
have the account, you can share it with us.
no, I was a teenager. Yeah, let's leave that be. It's basically
Sure,
fan
sure, sure.
fiction. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I had a lot of time in my hands, and I love to write, and my partner knows that I love to write, and he was the one to
Mhm.
suggest that I just go and try LinkedIn for myself.
Okay,
And so I
nice.
did. Yeah. Basically, he was the one to push me to find a creative way to put my energy into something good. And so I started, it was all the content about dentistry when I first started. It was last summer. And I was basically, I didn't know that this thing could be a career path. I didn't know you can get paid by ghostwriting for other people yet. But what I did was just basically write content about dentistry, trying to bust myths like this one. And
Right.
yeah, I grew my account in like 90 days from 0 to 1K impressions.
Okay.
And yeah, I had at that time I had a really small audience.
Hmm.
I started with 500 connections. So based on that audience and the results I've gotten with a topic that is considered niche. So dentistry on LinkedIn is very niche. Those were really good results. And at that time, I started pursuing medical writing as a side hustle. And I found out that it was super competitive. It's not as easy to get paid by writing medical blogs, especially maybe with AI, kind of made it harder.
Hmm.
But like the space was really crowded. Upwork was it was very difficult to land a medical writing job in Upwork or on LinkedIn. And so I just decided to try my luck with LinkedIn ghostwriting, specifically for healthcare professionals and healthcare founders. And so, like, it makes sense based on my background. I'm a dental student. I love science. I love writing. And yeah, it just made sense. So I started to do cold outreach. I started talking to doctors, experienced doctors, those who had businesses or like that I found are writing on LinkedIn, but not consistently. And so it was proof that they were active, but
Hmm.
not in the best ways. And it's basically a kind of door to door. Like, hey, I saw that you do this. I love that. But I also noticed that you're not really consistent with your LinkedIn. Maybe you need my help. And I just landed my first client that way. And yeah, based on that, I built my portfolio and then like looked for other clients. And I also landed other clients the very same way, and also showing them the work that I've done with the first client. And
Uh-huh.
you just keep building.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like it just branches.
Yeah.
Cool. That's very interesting. I mean, it's also something I never thought you could do, but it's it's interesting how you got into that. And how long have you been doing it for now?
A full year now.
Full year. Okay,
So
so not on a very
ghostwriting?
long.
No, so ghostwriting, writing for other people, 8 months,
Uh-huh.
and writing on LinkedIn, full year.
Full year.
That's yeah.
Okay. Okay, so even less for ghostwriting. Wow. And in the process, you know, what are some challenges you faced and some lessons that you've learned from it?
Yeah, I mean, the challenge is business is hard. That's like the
Of course.
biggest revelation.
Yeah.
Because you see on the internet those people that preach about making 1K in 15 days or in 24 hours. And almost all of the time, those people are really experienced. They already have a portfolio, they've already built the skill. And so they're not really beginners. And when it comes to us healthcare professionals, especially, we're not trained in this. Especially like just
Yes.
we discussed our culture before earlier, and I told you like we really focused on academics here.
Yeah.
So that's an extra barrier you need to overcome. Going from the mindset of education is everything, and and for us in our culture, they think that education leads to wealth, which right now, as we know, it's not the case anymore. Yeah.
Times have
Um,
changed.
yeah, you can start streaming, you can start an Instagram account, you can become a TikToker and earn through that. There's a lot of different ways. But even though the world is advancing, our culture is still the same. And
Yes.
so there's that extra layer that you need to overcome, not only with your family, but also with yourself. So when you're taught all those years that this is the way to earn and make a living and make money and create wealth, it's very difficult to shift from that mindset to the business mindset. And it's very hard to face objections. So you will be ghosted a lot when you start a business. I've experienced that firsthand. But my second client, I closed her after I outreached to around 187 doctors.
Wow.
Yeah. And so it was, it took a lot of time to learn how to outreach properly first. So that's why I messed up a lot and it took a bit of time. But also, people aren't waiting for you to sell to them things. Doesn't work that way.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's something I had to learn also. If you have a service, it doesn't mean that people want it, right?
Yeah. And you learned it the
Yeah.
hard way.
Yeah, you need to be patient. I mean, building a business, I'm still in the process of building this. But like this side hustle humbles you and teaches you that patience, it teaches you how to face objection, and it's not like that, it's not personal. When people don't reply to your DMs, especially when it comes to doctors. So doctors are probably one of the hardest people to sell services to.
Definitely.
Yeah, they're busy, and I understand. They wouldn't necessarily reply to your DMs, especially if you're asking something out of them. So all of that you need to keep in consideration if you want to build a thing on the side. And yeah, basically you need to be patient, to let yourself do the mistakes and like try over and over again. Yeah.
Lessons that everyone should learn. You know, you could get rejected, get ghosted the first 200 times, 500 times, 1,000
Yeah.
times even.
Yeah.
But I mean, you just gotta keep trying, right? You can't give up because of that. And you gotta understand that, yeah, I mean, a lot of these people, especially when you reach out to doctors, I mean, yes, they're busy. They might see the message, but they might be like, whatever. Nothing personal, as you said. It's just, you know, they might not be interested or they might be busy. Not everyone's the same. So you gotta get used to that. But if you keep trying, eventually you will get results.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, that's very interesting. Now, in your eyes, I want to know what's the biggest mistake that healthcare professionals make on LinkedIn, and what's the one thing you think they should do more often?
Okay. So, biggest mistake, we're lurkers on LinkedIn. If we have a LinkedIn account, and that's a bit rare already, but if a healthcare professional has a LinkedIn account, they typically don't really comment, they don't really post, they just scroll and read and maybe reshare posts, and that's it. And yeah, so basically you're just being a consumer in yet another social media platform. And I believe that's a mistake. Yeah.
Yeah,
You need to consider, are you in the platform for the sake of a goal? Is there a why? Or are you just being a passive consumer? And if yes, if you have something you want to achieve, maybe you want to change jobs to a less clinical role, or you want to be called for collaborations or maybe for speaking gigs, you need to be proactive. It won't come your way. It won't like just like, hey, here, take this. I'm offering to you it to you. It doesn't happen that way, right? You need to work towards it. You don't have to overwork. So like you can be smart about it, like even posting twice per week or even once a week and having an optimized LinkedIn profile and commenting here and there. It can be enough, especially like if you start conversations in the DMs. All those things matter. And
Yes.
so a lot of doctors don't quite realize that there are opportunities to be made on LinkedIn. They are right around the corner. And if you don't get them, another doctor will. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, and don't just consume content, produce it too. You know,
Yes.
any social media. Because then you'll be more seen, you'll get more opportunities, you'll build more connections. If you're just always consuming content, you won't get those things.
Exactly. Yeah.
Interesting. And you've spoken about authenticity in storytelling, about, being real and sharing the human side of healthcare. And why do you think that resonates so much?
Yeah. So I see that when I work with doctors, there's this inclination of not wanting to share their pictures. They try to write. So basically, they write the same way as they would an article or a publication, which doesn't work. I see this like those ways that are instilled in healthcare. So like we're taught to be this way, right? We're taught to so protect our human side and only be professional. And I get it. Of course, like you're providing care to humans, you need to protect their privacy, you need to be considerate and everything. I get that. But like the bad thing that happens when you only show that side and you never share your personal stories and your personal struggles, your patients won't see you as human. And yeah, so the goal is to share what happens inside your brain. So doctors, when they deal with a dying patient, they grieve, right? So why not share that grief? Why not share those feelings that you go through and write about them? I'm human too, right? I go through burnout. I am exhausted. Like there's a lot of things that can be shared and should be shared so that patients and doctors get to see eye to eye, but also like for patients to have a bit more empathy to doctors, right? I feel like there isn't enough empathy when it comes to doctors. Maybe they see us like we are well paid and we need to do this. This is our job. It's human life. And I get it, right? I get it. This is the path that we have chosen for ourselves. And I really understand. I really understand that a patient is in pain and needs that treatment. But when you think about it, a doctor is there for a 13-hour shift, let's say. It makes sense that they are tired, right? It makes sense that they wouldn't be smiley and bubbly or like, and those things that patients don't see, we as doctors need to share those bits. And that's why I really preach for authenticity, right?
Yes.
So it's really, really, really important to show up. Well, of course, always protecting, like don't share your patients' lives or names or whatever. Like, of course, it should be in the right setting. But I feel like we as humans crave those human connections, and we are craving authenticity right now, especially with the rise of AI that can fake. Like it feels like human-like empathy and human-like reactions from AI, but you feel it's wrong. When you read a post from AI, you feel it's not really human.
Definitely.
So yeah, so I believe like doctors should be out there, should write about what they go through in the job, so more people are aware of what it takes to become a doctor, but also for patients to understand doctors and doctors to understand patients. But also like another aspect that is very, very important, which is education that comes from doctors, because we see a lot of misinformation in Instagram and TikTok, and it's so important that doctors answer patient questions with their language. And that's why when I told her like doctors are writing like in publications, that doesn't work. We just need to change that so that patients can consume that educational content and they become aware and educated, but in a manner that suits them. Because most of us won't be reading a publication that was published by 10 doctors in PubMed. But a lot of doctors would scroll on LinkedIn or social media and would really watch that short 1 minute video or read that post when it comes from a doctor that is well educated and can answer their questions. Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, it's absolutely crucial. And if more doctors could be authentic, I mean, medicine as a whole, and also people who, go to these doctors, who look up to these doctors for health issues, for just information, they'll be more comfortable going up to them, to reaching out to them. So it's so important in the medical field and beyond. And again, I'm glad that you're advocating for that
Thank you.
through LinkedIn.
I mean, there's also one other point, which is I've been on both sides as a patient and as a doctor. And as a patient, I had PCOS, and I just wished that my doctor would have just told me, "Hey, Souad, there, I really don't know what's going on with you. I can see that you're
Yeah.
in pain. I can see that you're suffering. Don't want to dismiss that. I totally understand, but I don't know what's going on. Maybe I can refer you to another doctor who knows more than I do, or like maybe there isn't answers in Tunisia, and you should seek healthcare somewhere else." And
Yeah.
I
Not to
would really
just
respect that answer. Yeah.
Absolutely, not to just say that you're
Yeah.
depressed, out of nowhere.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That would be an authentic reply,
Mhm.
and I would really respect that. And I wish that healthcare would become more like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you don't
Yeah.
know, just say so. Be authentic. Just share.
Exactly. Exactly. And you won't know you won't know everything, and you can't just make random guesses.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
even if you're a doctor, I know doctors, a lot of them have an ego too, but still, you won't know everything, and that's okay. Just be honest, be authentic, be yourself. It goes
Yeah,
beyond anything
exactly.
else. So, I want to know, I mean, dental school, very, very busy, very intense. How do you balance that, going to dental school with building your ghostwriting business? Because that must be a challenge in itself.
Yeah. So, this year in particular, like I told you, so I didn't have a lot of subjects to redo, which gave me a lot of time to focus on building this thing. And
Mhm.
right now, I know that I'm gonna be back in 2 weeks, which I'm not too hyped about. But like, I know, I like, I need to set my systems. I need to set everything in place. So when I get back to school, I'm able to do both. And basically, one part of it is knowing your capabilities.
Mhm.
So how much work can you take? Can you take like 2 clients, 3 clients, 4 clients? Like set a limit and don't exceed that. So you're able to maintain that same quality of work, but also don't overwork yourself. And leave the time for you to regenerate and also to study. So it all comes to being honest and real with yourself. So, and planning around. Typically, what I do is all my work, my client work. So basically, I take meetings Friday and Saturday and do the work over the weekend. And I found that it works with doctors because they have a busy schedule. I have a busy schedule. In the work days, they're not really available, and so am I. And so that really works for us. And they give me their feedback over the weekend, and I found it to be a very smooth process. Maybe it wouldn't work for other niches, or like maybe in engineering, or like if I were to write for, let's say, engineers, I don't think that would work the same like with doctors. And so that's also like a factor to keep into consideration. What else? So basically, just set your systems, have your routines. Try to be don't leave everything to the last minute when it comes to revision, of course.
Yes.
Yeah. Don't take more than you can chew, obviously. And you will be just fine, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Manage your time, manage your time in blocks. I mean, plan it out ahead of time, know what you want to do on a specific day. Like I can imagine for the weekends when you meet with your clients, ahead of time, you're planning it, you're reaching out to them, you're scheduling times or they're scheduling, and that way you'll know what to expect and you can manage your time better. You're like, okay, let's say like Saturday I'm super busy, so I'll do whatever work I have, the day before, or Sunday, whenever, because you'll know in advance that you won't have time to do that thing on Saturday, for instance. So it's super important. I think someone like you who's doing dental school while also managing your ghostwriting business, you can offer a ton of tips about it.
Yeah. I mean, it all comes to trial and error. Sometimes you will find like you've set a deadline and you need to deliver, and it didn't work out for you, but you were still able to deliver the work. From
Yes,
that, you can iterate and create a better system so that next time you have more buffer time to deliver and still be able to manage with your busy schedule. And like, for example, I love Pomodoro. A lot of us love Pomodoro.
yes,
When it comes to medicine, we do use timers. We do enjoy the structure of it all. Yeah, it just comes to being prepared and organized.
definitely, definitely. It goes such a long way. It's super important. Can't stress how important it is, especially as you become busier, as you progress through your career. It becomes more and more important. So my last question for you is looking ahead, do you see yourself continuing to merge dentistry with communication or leaning more into one side of that balance?
Yes. A lot of people ask me this very same question. And I remember I wrote a post about it. And
Oh,
I say the same answer. So if this ghostwriting business gives me the same income or more than dentistry would, I would definitely choose to build this business and go full on, just because you're able to work wherever you want. You have location freedom. When you're a dentist, you don't have that luxury at all.
yes.
But also, when it comes to having PCOS, you know that you have physical constraints. You
Mhm.
need to take care of yourself. You need to rest well. And dentistry can be a bit physical. I don't know if you've ever visited the dentist. Of course you
Yes,
did.
I
Like,
have. Yeah,
wisdom tooth extraction takes a lot of effort. You need to be fit.
definitely.
And so, just like for me personally, I would love to see more of what the world offers. And I know that I can, whenever I want, go back to dental school. So once you have your so once you graduated, you're basically free in a way. You can always go back to it. It's like
Yeah,
that's my second plan, right? Yeah, I
interesting.
say, yeah. If business works, I just go that way.
You go all in.
I think so.
Sounds
Yeah.
like a plan. Sounds like a plan. Yeah. I mean, the location freedom, especially, I think, is super important. You're not always confined to the same place. And of course, in terms of, with the condition that you have, in terms of being able to, do all these operations. And I know that, like, I've been to the dentist, I've seen some of them, some of the operations take very long. There's surgery, there's
Mhm.
um, a lot of patients you meet for, I mean, some dentists I know work 10 to 12 hours a day even. So it's a lot of work. It's a lot
Yeah.
of standing, dealing with patients, trying not to mess up. Takes a lot of focus too. So it's both mentally and physically demanding in that
Yeah.
sense. Uh, yeah, I mean, it would make sense to me that you'd want to go all in into this business if it generates the same income or more than dentistry.
Yeah. Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
so good for you. Yeah, I hope to see it grow more and more from here.
I hope so too. And also, like, dentistry takes a lot of money to just open your practice to begin with. Our
Oh
materials
yeah,
are super pricey. Getting a dental chair costs a lot. And
definitely.
yeah, yeah,
Interesting. Well, it's nice that you have the option to, go into the business because a lot of people, when they're just focused on academics, if they're just in dental school, then they don't have a lot of other options, right? But then you have this option, so it's good that you have that freedom to pursue what you want if you want to do it.
exactly. And I would say if it wasn't for this gap year, if it wasn't for me failing my third year, I would never have built my business currently. I would never have pursued business, and I would have
Mhm.
stayed in that mindset of dentistry is my everything and I need to make this work. And so sometimes things in life happen for a reason and you
Exactly.
don't see it. You only see it in hindsight. And
Mhm.
like it feels like a blessing in disguise. So I'm really grateful for this, even though it was very painful for me. I mean, it happened for a reason. It was meant to be.
It was meant to be exactly, and that's a prime
Yeah.
example of it. Now, let's move on to our final segment. So, Tunisia has a rich cultural heritage, as I said before, and from ancient Carthage to its role as the crossroads of civilizations, and today as a powerhouse for innovation, particularly in North Africa. I think, I mean, as you said, it's a small country, but it punches way above its weight, and it has a very educated population. Now, in your opinion, what drives this passion for innovation, science, knowledge sharing in Tunisia, especially among young people who are interested in STEM fields?
Mhm. Well, I'd say us being having been colonized by a lot of foreign countries, basically
Yeah.
The Roman empires, France, yeah, all those civilizations that came before, and so the mixture of the things that they bring, and Turkey also. So we were colonized quite a lot, and we received a lot of. So the let's say if you go to Tunis, which is the capital of Tunisia. We will find buildings that stem from the French architecture style. And so basically, you will see that we learned a lot of things from them. And even after the colonization, not every French person have left Tunisia, for example. Not every Roman would have left, I'd say, I don't know. And that makes it that the education system, the culture of science and research, the literature, all of that, it stays. So they do bring those things to us, right? And when they leave, those things stay. And so we
Yes.
just build upon them. And I really truly believe that might be one of the reasons why we're maybe more open-minded and more scientifically driven than other African countries, maybe. Yeah, just like I said earlier, our education system is all based on the French one.
Yeah.
We just replicated theirs. Basically took whatever they gave us and they put in here. So there are also French schools still existing right now. Yeah, I think even so basically you would say you will find those old institutions that are still here, active schools from those people that came and conquered us and gave us kind of their systems and stuff. Yeah.
Interesting. It's incredible how much influence it's had from many civilizations. I mean, like I said, it's at the crossroads of civilizations in a sense. So despite, being a small country, but it's super diverse in that sense. It has French influence and then influence from the Middle East, from the Romans. So yeah, together I think it's contributed to what it is today.
Yeah.
The diversity, the open-mindedness, as you said, and how educated the people are. I mean, like the average number of languages spoken there is 3 or 4. Right, as you
Yeah,
said.
so most of us
Yeah,
speak 3
there's
languages.
French,
Yeah.
Arabic, English,
Yeah.
maybe Spanish, Italian. It truly shows how much they care about education, how much they value innovation, research, discovery. So it's a very cool culture. It's a very interesting culture that is there in Tunisia, and I hope to visit one day and see that and experience it myself.
Yeah. There's a lot to see for sure.
Definitely. Well, that brings us to the end of the 6th episode of Across STEM with YSI. A huge thank you to Souad for joining me and sharing about your journey so far from your path as a dental student to your growth as a healthcare communicator and ghostwriter to, most of all, the inspiring resilience that you've shown in your personal journey. You're showing how STEM is not just about labs and clinics, but also about voices, stories, and connections that can change lives. So keep doing what you're doing regardless of what anyone says or thinks, because your work is of tremendous value to people around the world. And the authenticity that you have and the authenticity that you inspire others to have is truly significant, and we need more of that in the world. So thank you so much. Keep doing what you're doing. It's a pleasure for me to get to know you through USTEM Initiative, and I'll continue following your work through LinkedIn and elsewhere. To the audience, as always, if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to follow Across STEM with YSI on Spotify, rate us on Spotify, and check us out on our socials to stay updated. We've got more and more incredible guests and conversations that are coming your way with beautiful, inspiring stories. Until next time, stay curious, stay inspired, and keep exploring STEM across cultures and time. See you next time. All right.
Bye bye.